Good day, beloved. I come to you today to share an experience we received from a sister concerning the matters of the rapture. The only reason we are sharing this, even after the rapture did not happen as many expected, is because she revealed a very serious truth that Jesus revealed to her. In short, she explained the actual reason why the rapture did not take place, and it took us by surprise to learn that it was connected to the passing of a prominent figure who left this earth just a few days ago. Kindly watch this video to the end to fully understand this experience, brothers and sisters. Many times, it is only when you hear the testimony all the way through that you will truly understand God's heart and be able to discern the truth and the Spirit. Also, dear brothers and sisters, kindly comment where you are watching from so we can connect and pray with you wherever you are. Our team members will be checking the comment section from time to make sure we respond to every comment and pray along with you in the spirit of unity and love. My name is Farilla de Souza. I am 40 years old, and I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. I may not be popular, but God by His mercies had shown to me why the rapture did not happen and a deep secret about Charlie Kirk's death that many are not aware. For many years, to my best of knowledge, I had walked with God faithfully, always watching, always waiting, always listening for the trumpet that would announce the rapture. Since my youth, I had carried in my heart the promise of Christ's return. I was not perfect, but I longed for His coming with all of my being. In recent weeks, the expectation of the rapture had grown even stronger. Everyone was speaking about it, and I too believed the day had drawn near. On the morning of my last breath on earth, as I moved about, a strange pull came over me, as though my body was no longer my own. My heart started racing, and my vision blurred for a moment. I thought it was just weakness, but it was something much deeper. I sat down on a wooden chair, and suddenly my ears were filled with a sound that was not of this world. It was like thousands of waters crashing together, yet soft like a whisper. My body trembled. I tried to pray, but no words came out. Then something unique happened, something I had never imagined. My shadow on the floor began to change. Instead of following my movements, it lifted itself up from the ground as though it had a life of its own. It stretched taller and taller, and then it stood before me like a veil separating me from everything around me. In that moment I realized I was leaving my earthly form. My spirit was being pulled out, and my body slumped quietly against the chair. There was no struggle, no scream, no pain. It was not like the deaths I had seen others experience. My departure was wrapped in mystery, like heaven had designed a doorway only for me. I felt my last breath escape, but instead of darkness, there was only light. I saw my lifeless body sitting still in the chair, but I was no longer inside it. I was standing outside, looking upon myself with a strange calmness. It was then I understood, I had died, but it was not death in the way humans think of it. It was an uncommon release, a quiet separation, as though the veil between earth and heaven had been drawn back for me alone. The moment I stepped out of my body, I felt weightless yet more alive than ever before. A pull, gentle but firm, began to draw me upward. It was as though invisible hands were lifting me through layers I could not see with human eyes. I rose past what looked like streams of light and waves of sound. The higher I went, the more I felt my thoughts opening like a book being read aloud. I soon found myself standing at the edge of a vast place that seemed endless. A golden brightness covered everything, yet it did not hurt my eyes. Before me was a hall unlike anything on earth. The walls shone like polished stone, but they breathed with life, as if the very material was aware of God's presence. The silence in the hall was not empty, it was filled with the weight of eternity. As I walked forward, I saw rows upon rows of shelves that stretched far into the distance. Upon them were scrolls glowing with a soft, holy fire. Each scroll seemed alive, almost as if it carried a heartbeat of its own. I felt drawn to them, but at the same time, a deep reverence filled me. This was not a place for curiosity. It was a chamber of divine records. A being appeared beside me. He was clothed in brightness that moved like liquid light. I could not see his face clearly, but his presence carried peace and authority at the same time. I knew without being told that he was an angel sent to guide me. He made me understand that I had been brought here for a reason. My heart was trembling because I sensed this room held secrets about heaven's dealings with the earth. The angel turned his gaze toward the shelves, and in my spirit, I knew that these scrolls contained the plans of God for the rapture. He revealed to me that each scroll was a record of times heaven had made ready for the rapture to occur. I could feel the seriousness of it. Many times heaven had prepared, yet the trumpet had never been allowed to sound. As I stood before the shelves, the angel stretched out his hand, and one of the scrolls lifted itself into the air. It opened without touch, and inside I saw markings of light that were not like any earthly letters. Yet, my spirit understood them clearly. They spoke of times when heaven had made ready for the trumpet, when the hosts had prepared to gather the saints. The records showed specific seasons across history when the rapture could have taken place. The angel let me know that these were not mistakes of man's calculation but real moments when God's plan had reached a point of readiness. The heavens had waited for the signal, and even creation itself had leaned forward in expectation. But then, each time, something happened. Mercy was extended again, and the call to gather was delayed. He revealed to me that the reason was not weakness or confusion but the mercy of God. He allowed me to feel it deeply in my spirit. His heart was not willing that any should perish. Intercessors had cried out across nations, prayers of mothers, fathers, children, pastors, hidden saints who bent their knees in secret places. These prayers had risen like incense, and heaven had heard them. As the scrolls turned before my eyes, I saw wave after wave of moments where angels had prepared to descend, yet the voice of the Lord had restrained them. It was written clearly, almost like a command stamped upon each scroll, "Not yet, for mercy speaks louder." My whole being trembled as I realized how close the world had come many times, even in seasons when no one expected it. The angel let me know that this was also the reason why the recent expectation of the rapture did not take place. Heaven had prepared, the trumpet was almost at the lips, but again, mercy stepped in. The prayers of the faithful had delayed judgment. I felt an ache in my chest, both of sorrow and of relief. Sorrow, because men did not know how close they were, and relief, because God's love was still reaching out. After the angel had shown me the scrolls, he turned my eyes toward the earth. It was as if the walls of the chamber opened, and suddenly I could see into nations and cities. What I saw made my heart heavy. Darkness covered the lands like a thick blanket. Men and women carried on with their lives, but their hearts were far from God. The angel let me know that the degree of wickedness in the world had reached a level heaven could not ignore. I saw children growing in violence, nations feeding on corruption, leaders drunk with power, and families breaking apart without truth to hold them together. I saw altars of sin rising in places where God's name had once been honored. Even within churches, I saw many who called his name yet lived in secret rebellion. The sight of it pierced me deeply. As I stood in that place of vision, my eyes caught a sudden image. It was the face of Charlie, his countenance appearing before me with a quiet sadness. His image seemed to float like a reminder of the news I had recently heard, his death, sudden and unexpected. My heart trembled, and I asked within myself why such a thing had happened. Before I could speak the question aloud, the angel beside me answered the thought of my heart. He explained that the passing of men like Charlie was not without meaning. He said their lives had been voices to awaken a generation, voices raised to prepare men for the times we were entering. Yet their journeys had been cut short by the shadows of darkness and the schemes of evil. He let me understand that when such lights are suddenly extinguished, it leaves the earth quieter, and heaven sorrows at the absence of their sound. The angel showed me that Charlie was not alone in this. Across the earth, many whom God had raised as messengers, men and women who carried fire in their words, who carried a burden for souls, and who longed to turn the hearts of men back to God, had also been cut short before their time. He revealed that these were not accidents but battles, moments where evil had struck to silence witnesses who carried truth. As he spoke, names began to rise before me, men whose voices had shaped nations yet were silenced suddenly. I saw Reinhard Bonnke, the evangelist whose feet once shook the dust of Africa with the gospel, but who was taken before his fire could touch another generation. I saw Miles Monroe, whose wisdom carried light into leadership and nations, yet his journey ended in the suddenness of an accident. I saw even Billy Graham, though old in years, shone as a passing that left a deep void, a reminder that even the greatest voices are not eternal on earth. Then the angel revealed a mystery to me. He said the Lord, in his mercy, often extends the time of the rapture when such voices are removed from the earth. For God sees the absence their passing leaves, and he allows space for others to rise and take up the mantle they carried. He longs for new watchmen, new evangelists, new intercessors to be birthed in their place. It is for this reason, the angel said, that the trumpet has not yet sounded. God is waiting for the gaps left by these fallen voices to be filled, for the army of his people to stand where they once stood. I trembled deeply as I heard this, for I realized the delay of the rapture was not weakness but mercy, mercy that men might yet awaken, mercy that others might step forward to carry the burden of those who had been taken away. Then I was shown something even more fearful. I saw the devil moving freely in the hearts of men. His grip was not only in dark corners but in open places, media, schools, governments, even in families. He whispered lies that turned people against one another, and many followed without resistance. My heart broke, because I realized how many souls were walking straight into destruction without even knowing it. Yet, even in that darkness, I could see streams of light rising. These were the prayers of intercessors. They came from hidden places, an old woman in a small village praying alone, a child whispering to God before bed, groups gathered quietly in the night seeking his face. Their prayers rose like flames, reaching heaven, and each time they rose, I saw the darkness pushed back. The angel revealed to me that it was these prayers that had delayed the trumpet. Mercy had answered because of them. I stood trembling, caught between the sorrow of the wickedness I saw and the hope of mercy still extended. My spirit understood that the world was walking on the edge of a thin line, and only God's compassion kept the earth from sudden judgment. The angel guided me away from the vision of the earth's wickedness and turned my eyes toward something brighter. I began to see streams of light rising from every direction of the globe. At first, they looked like faint threads, but the more I focused, the clearer they became. Each thread was a prayer, and together they formed rivers of light that traveled upward into the heavens. These prayers did not vanish into the air as many imagine. Instead, they gathered into bowls that rested before the throne of God. The bowls glowed with fire, and when the prayers filled them, the flames rose higher. The angel revealed to me that these were the cries of intercessors, men and women hidden from the eyes of the world, but precious before the eyes of heaven. My heart was deeply moved. I realized that the world does not know how much it owes to those who pray. Nations continue in their wickedness, yet in hidden corners, the faithful are standing in the gap. Their cries are stronger than the voices of rebellion. Their tears speak louder than the sins of the world. Heaven takes account of every word, every sigh, every groan. The angel revealed to me that in this present time, more intercession has risen than in many generations past. People across nations are crying for mercy, and that is why heaven has delayed the trumpet. The earth has been spared because of the persistence of the faithful. I stood still, my spirit humbled. For the first time, I understood that the unseen prayers of the saints are the pillars holding back the tide of destruction. Without them, the story of the world would already have ended. As I stood watching the prayers rise like rivers of fire, the angel's presence shifted, and I felt something new stir in the air around me. He revealed to me that mercy had not only delayed the rapture but had also opened the door for a great move of God. He made me aware that in October, heaven would pour out a fresh wave of the Spirit upon the earth. Suddenly, my vision changed. I saw the earth again, but this time it was different. From the heavens, drops of fire began to fall like rain. Wherever these drops touched, they did not burn with destruction but with life. I saw young men and women ignited with a new hunger for God. I saw children prophesying, old men rising from their sickbeds to pray again, and churches that had grown cold catching fire with fresh zeal. The angel let me know that this outpouring would not be limited to one place or one people. It would sweep across continents, Africa, America, Europe, Asia, islands of the sea. In cities and in villages, in schools and in marketplaces, flames of revival would appear. I saw gatherings spring up in unexpected places, fields, living rooms, deserted streets. Everywhere the fire touched, hearts turned back to God. But I also saw something sobering. The fire did not fall everywhere at once. It fell where men and women had prepared the ground with prayer. In some places, the flames spread like wildfire. In others, the drops landed but quickly faded because the soil of the people's hearts was too hard. The angel revealed to me that this outpouring would be a test. Those who humbled themselves would be filled, but those who resisted would grow darker. The angel made me understand that October would mark a turning point. It would not be the end, but the beginning of a season where God calls his people to rise with fresh power. The prayers of intercessors had not only delayed judgment but had also birthed a revival. The Spirit would come like fire and like rain, and many who were asleep would wake up. After the angel had shown me the power of intercession, the flames of revival, and the resistance of darkness, my spirit felt heavy. I sensed that there was still something I needed to see, something sobering. The angel turned, and once again the chamber of scrolls opened before me. This time, he revealed scrolls that had not yet been unrolled. As the first scroll unfurled, I saw visions of what would come if men continued to harden their hearts. Nations trembled under calamities, floods swallowing cities, fires consuming forests, and great storms shaking coasts. I saw wars rising suddenly, nations clashing in violence, and innocent lives caught in the middle. My spirit wept as I realized these were not far-off events but possibilities standing close to the present. The angel revealed to me that the delay of the rapture was not an erasing of judgment but only a pause. Mercy had spoken, but if men continued in rebellion, justice would come swiftly. He let me know that heaven's records were not only filled with past delays but also with warnings of what is to come if mercy is rejected. I saw people mocking the signs, laughing at the warnings, and living as though tomorrow was guaranteed. Their hearts were blind, and they could not see how near they stood to the edge. Yet at the same time, I saw believers rising with urgency, speaking truth with love, and preparing others for what lay ahead. These were like watchmen on the wall, sounding the alarm though many refused to listen. The angel made me understand that the recent delay was heaven's final gesture of mercy before a great shaking. He revealed to me that God was not interested in frightening men but in giving them another chance to turn back. This chance was costly. It was bought by the tears of intercessors, the cries of children, and the groanings of those who still believed. The visions began to fade, and I felt the strength of my spirit being drawn back toward the earth. With those words, a rushing wind surrounded me, and my eyes opened once again. When I awoke, those around me were in tears. They thought I was gone forever, yet God had given me back to them with a testimony burning in my soul. I realized then that the delay of the rapture was not the silence of heaven but the cry of God's mercy. It was a final call for repentance, a moment of grace for the stubborn and the lost, and a chance for believers to rise and shine in holiness and love. My heart trembled as I shared what I had learned, that the world stands at the edge of a great decision. God has stretched his hand of mercy once more, but time is running short. The delay is not forever, and the trumpet will sound when the last moment of mercy has passed. As I spoke, I urged everyone who listened to take their walk with God seriously. I reminded them to love one another deeply, to forgive quickly, to pray without ceasing, and to hold fast to the word of God. For the day of the Lord will come suddenly, and only those who are watchful will be ready. I left that encounter with a heart both heavy and hopeful. Heavy because of what I had seen if men refuse God's mercy, but hopeful because of the revival that will spread through the nations if believers rise to the call. My message is simple: the delay is not denial. It is mercy. Let us not waste it.